Ever feel like there's this kind of untapped potential inside you, like a hidden wellspring of energy just waiting to be unleashed?
Hmm.
Today, we're diving deep into a concept that speaks to that feeling, the seven fires.
Okay.
From the text, El Observador y el Sendero del Fuego, the observer and the path of fire.
It's a powerful metaphor for personal transformation
Hmm.
and the pursuit of higher consciousness. And it all starts with you becoming a keen observer of your own mind.
Not emptying your
Oh,
mind,
right.
as some meditation practices suggest,
Mm-hmm.
but really leaning into observation. I'll admit that sounds a little intimidating.
Sure.
What does it actually look like to be an observador?
So imagine your thoughts are like a flowing river. Instead of getting swept away by the current, you're standing on the bank simply watching the water flow by.
Hmm.
You notice each thought, each feeling without judgment, without getting carried away.
Okay, I can see how that would be powerful.
Right.
But how do we actually do that?
Yeah,
Our minds race a mile a minute.
it takes practice. But the text offers a key insight. It's in the space between thoughts where true wisdom and intuition reside. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that brief pause? That gap between one thought and the next?
You know what? Now that you mention it, yes, it's like a tiny mental breath, but it's so fleeting.
Exactly. Most people don't even notice it. But by cultivating awareness of those gaps, those moments of stillness, you begin to tap into what the text calls the mente abstracta, the abstract mind. It's like shifting from the noisy surface of the river to the calm depths below.
It's like reaching a whole other level of consciousness. But this path of fire idea, how does that fit in? It sounds kind of intense.
Think of the Sendero del Fuego as a journey of awakening, with each of the seven fires representing a stage in that journey. Each fire builds upon the last, guiding you towards a higher state of being.
Okay, so let's imagine we're embarking on this journey. What's the first fire we encounter?
The first is the most familiar, the fuego físico, the physical fire. Think of a roaring campfire. You could feel its heat, see its flames, even smell the burning wood. It's tangible, immediate, and represents that initial spark of awareness that things can be different.
It's like that moment you described earlier, that desire for something more right.
Precisely. It's recognizing that raw potential within you, that inner fire waiting to be kindled. But as with any fire, it needs to be carefully tended to avoid burning out of control.
That makes sense. So how do we go from the raw energy of the physical fire to something more controlled, more refined?
That's where the second fire comes, in the fuego emotional purificador, the purifying emotional fire. This isn't about external flames, but the intensity of your inner world, your emotions.
We've all felt the heat of anger, the sting of heartbreak. It's definitely powerful energy.
Exactly. This fire is about learning to control and transform those raw emotions. Not by suppressing them, but by understanding their nature. Remember that river we talked about?
Huh?
Imagine those emotions are like rapids, potentially dangerous if you get caught in them. This fire is about learning to navigate those rapids skillfully, using their energy to propel you forward, rather than letting them toss you around.
Okay, that's a really vivid analogy. So it's not about eliminating our emotions, but understanding how to work with them constructively.
Absolutely. And this leads us to the third fire, the fuego que consagra, the consecrating fire, which resides in the heart. Imagine the warmth of a hearth, radiating love and compassion.
So we've moved from a crackling fire to the intensity of rapids and now to the comforting warmth of a hearth. I'm seeing a progression here.
You got it. This fire is about aligning yourself with a greater purpose. It's about letting your actions be guided by love, kindness, and a desire to contribute to something larger than yourself.
So it's not just about personal transformation anymore, it's about connecting with something bigger.
Exactly. And that's where things get really interesting. But before we dive into the next fire, I'm curious, what resonates most with you so far?
Honestly, the idea of navigating those emotional rapids really resonates with me. It's not about becoming emotionless, but about becoming more skillful at riding the waves of our inner world.
Precisely. It's like you're becoming an expert kayaker, learning to use the power of the rapids to propel you forward instead of letting them capsize your boat.
Love that analogy. So we've gone from the spark of awareness to navigating our emotions to aligning with a greater purpose. What comes next on this path of fire?
The fourth fire is where things shift from heat and intensity to something more subtle, more illuminating. It's called the fuego que illumina, the illuminating fire.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Illuminating sounds like a whole different kind of fire.
It is. Imagine a firefly on a summer night. It doesn't burn with a raging flame, but emits a soft, gentle glow. This fire represents inner enlightenment, a deep understanding that goes beyond book knowledge.
So it's about seeing things with more clarity, right? Like having a light bulb go off inside.
Exactly. And remember how the text emphasizes the importance of observation?
Hmm.
This fire is about taking all that you've observed, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and seeing them in a new light with deeper understanding.
It's like we're moving from the flickering flames of a campfire to the steady beam of a lighthouse.
Beautifully said. Yeah. Just like a lighthouse guides ships safely through the darkness, this inner illumination helps you navigate the complexities of life with wisdom and clarity.
I can see how that would be incredibly valuable, but we're not just navigating our own inner world, right? We're also part of something much bigger.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the fifth fire,
Hmm.
the Fuego Planetario, the planetary fire. This fire isn't something you can light with a match. It's about recognizing the Earth's own energy, its intelligence, its connection to a universal force.
So we're expanding our awareness beyond ourselves to connect with the planet as a whole.
Yes. It's about understanding that we're not isolated beings, but part of a vast, interconnected web of life. The text refers to this fire as an embassy of the sun here on Earth. Just like an embassy represents a foreign nation, this fire represents the sun's energy flowing through and sustaining life on Earth.
An embassy of the sun. I love that imagery. It suggests a direct link between us and something much greater than ourselves.
Exactly. And that link becomes even more profound as we move to the sixth fire, the
Yeah.
Fuego Sol, the solar fire. This is where things get really expansive.
Solar fire. I have to admit, this one sounds a little intimidating. We're dealing with some serious energy here.
It is powerful, but also incredibly awe-inspiring. Think of the sun. It's the source of light and life for our entire solar system. This fire represents solar consciousness itself.
Okay, that makes sense on a symbolic level, but what does it actually mean to connect with solar consciousness? It sounds like something out of Star Wars.
Think of it as tapping into a source of vast wisdom and knowledge. Remember how the text talks about the sun holding a symphony of millennial experiences?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. It's the realization that matter and spirit are interconnected, that we are part of a grand cosmic dance happening all around us.
Wow. That's a beautiful, but also incredibly mind-bending concept. So we're going from personal enlightenment to planetary awareness to experiencing the universe as a cosmic dance.
You're getting it. And there's one more fire to go, the most mysterious and awe-inspiring of them all.
You've been building the suspense with each fire, so you've really got me on the edge of my seat now. What is the final fire on this path?
It's the Fuego Cosmico, the cosmic fire. It represents the ultimate source of creation itself. But before we dive into that, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the solar fire. It's a concept that often sparks a lot of wonder and reflection.
The solar fire, that's a tough one to wrap my head around. It's like I grasped the metaphor, the sun, as the source of immense energy and wisdom. But to actually connect with that, it feels almost, well, impossible.
It's definitely a concept that stretches the limits of our everyday understanding. But what if instead of trying to grasp it intellectually, we approach it through feeling? Imagine that warmth on your skin on a sunny day. That's the sun's energy, right? What if connecting with solar consciousness is more about tapping into that energy, feeling its presence within and around us?
Like a kind of intuitive understanding rather than a purely intellectual one.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're part of something much grander and more ancient than we often realize. And that leads us to the final fire on this incredible journey, the Fuego Cosmico, the cosmic fire.
Okay, we've gone from campfires to lighthouses to the sun. What image can possibly do justice to the cosmic fire?
It's beyond imagery, really. Think of the Big Bang, the force that birthed the universe. The cosmic fire is that raw, creative energy that continues to pulse through everything, connecting us all. It's the source of all that it is, was, and ever will be.
It's like trying to imagine the universe before the universe existed.
Precisely. It's a concept that defies our usual ways of thinking. And what's even more intriguing is that the text suggests this cosmic fire isn't just some abstract force, it's a language.
The language, you mean like the universe is speaking? What's it saying?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think the answer is different for everyone. Maybe it's not about words as we understand them, but something more profound, a language of energy, of vibration, of pure being.
So by understanding these 7 fires, are we essentially learning how to decode that language? How to listen to the universe?
It's possible. Remember how the journey began with observation. Maybe by deepening our awareness of ourselves, our emotions, our connection to the planet and beyond, we begin to tune into a frequency we couldn't perceive before.
Wow. So this path of fire isn't just a metaphor for personal growth, it's a pathway to understanding the universe and our place within it. It's a lot to take in, but in a really inspiring way.
That's the beauty of this text. It offers us a framework, a new lens through which to view ourselves and the world around us.
It reminds us that there's always more to discover, more to learn, and maybe a whole universe waiting to be understood.
Beautifully said. And who knows, maybe by fanning those inner flames, by cultivating awareness and connection, we can each become more fluent in the language of the cosmos.
That's an incredible thought to end on. This deep dive has been a wild ride, from the most tangible flames to the very essence of creation. A big thanks to you for illuminating this path for us.
It was my pleasure. Remember, the journey of exploration is never truly over. Keep asking questions, keep seeking, and most importantly, keep that inner fire burning bright.
And to all you listeners, thanks for joining us on another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.